Hello and welcome to episode 169 of the Nintendo Fun Club podcast. This is a podcast about Nintendo and about fun. I'm Ryan, and joining me, as always, is John.
What's up, Ryan? Glad to be back. It's been a while since I've been on the Nintendo Fun Club podcast. You and Lindsay did a cool Summer Jams episode that I was able to listen to without having been on the recording, so that was fun. Bunch of summer games.
Yeah. The sad thing about that is all I really wanted to talk about was Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, but I was saving it for when you were when you were back. So
yeah, I
we will
appreciate that.
finally get to talk about that game today.
I would have been really bummed if you guys went through it when I wasn't there, and then all I could do was raise my hand and say, yeah, I played it too, So
Yeah. So we'll be talking about that today. A little bit of Luminous, Octopath Traveler, and a bit of news. So why don't you go ahead and start us off with this Mario Kart business?
Okay, Ryan. Well, I'm identifying a skeptical look in your eyes as you say that. Like, why is this a news story? This doesn't deserve to be a news story.
Not necessarily.
Look, man, we're going to get some more Mario Kart 8 content coming up. A little birdie goes by the name of Nintenstradamus told me that recently. And I think, it's been quiet on the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe front, but I don't think they've ever gone as far as to say, sort of like Breath of the Wild, they've pretty much just said, like, we're not doing any more content for that game, They've never really said that for Mario Kart 8, as far as I know. And then recently, Nintendo did this, like, video thing, Nintendo of Japan. It wasn't a direct, but it was like a developer looking into the camera and giving a couple, like, quick updates type video. It was weird. Did you watch that?
I did not. No.
Yeah, so it's in Japanese and it's from the Nintendo of Japan account and stuff. Yeah, it's just like brief updates on a couple of games. And when they get to Mario Kart 8, the comment is pretty much like, further updates will be coming. We'll talk about those at a later date or something. And I think that has to mean, at the very least, like, new racers or new costumes or characters or whatever. But I would think it's likely that we could be getting, like, another DLC pack or something. And it's kind of what I was already thinking. But then I was listening to this week's Nintendo voice chat from IGN, which I know you listen to that podcast as well. I don't know if you've heard the most recent one or not. Okay, well, they mentioned it too. So they brought up the fact, or the theory, and I think it makes a lot of sense, that perhaps when Nintendo Switch Online launches, a good way to incentivize people to use it would be to put out some new Mario Kart 8 Deluxe content. So, because right now it does look like a little bit of a soft launch for Switch Online, just because there's not, like, a big game coming out that's going to really use online at the time that the online service launches. So a lot of people thought maybe Smash would launch with Nintendo Online, but that's coming like 2 months later. So I think it would just be very logical for Mario Kart 8 to get some updates. I don't think we'll get another Mario Kart 8, or I'm sorry, I don't think we'll get another Mario Kart game on Switch. Personally, I think, like, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the Switch Mario Kart game. So if they can give us another round of tracks and characters and stuff, like, I think that'd be great, and could work well with the online system as well.
Yeah. I mean, the idea of, like, new tracks is, like, feels crazy to me, just because Mario Kart 8 is, like, such an, like, old game at this point, like the original. But they did drop an Animal Crossing on 3DS update that was pretty huge, like, last year. So I mean, anything is possible. I mean, I hope that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe isn't the only Mario Kart game on Switch. I hope we get a Mario Kart 9 in a couple years. But maybe not necessarily new tracks or racers, but, like, new new sort of like leaderboards or something tied into the online experience. Maybe not even a new mode, but like new way of tracking progress or something like that, I think would be really cool.
Yeah, that could be cool. For sure. I just think that I don't know. There's I don't know. Mario Kart 8 was a weird game on the Switch just because so many of us played it a ton on Wii U and then
Mm-hmm.
didn't play it all that much on Switch. I mean, I still love that game.
Yeah.
And I play it here and there, but I think if new content came out, like new courses, you know, even if it's just like 4 new tracks, you know, you'd get like a big influx of lapsed Mario Kart 8 players coming back to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know that like leaderboards would bring me back. And if it's not going to bring me back, I feel like, you know, it's not going to bring
Mm,
like it's a very broad appeal game. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I feel like a lot of like, you know, the Mario Kart 8 audience, I feel like a lot of them, they're not even going to come back. Like they're not going to know that there's leaderboards, let alone be incentivized to come back and play for something that small, you know? Then again, I'm probably just like potentially just wishful thinking here and like getting my hopes up for like all this new content. And then it's going to be, you know,
Yeah.
something much more, much less ambitious than that. So who knows? I guess who knows what it is, but I feel like looking into a camera and saying more updates are coming to Mario Kart 8 is about as close as Nintendo can come to announcing Mario Kart 8 content without announcing it yet. You know what I mean? I don't know why they would do that. Like, look at a camera and say, we've got further updates coming to Mario Kart 8. And it's like
Yeah.
stability increase, you know, or whatever, like usability. Like, I don't know. It's got to be something. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
but
I
anyway,
guess we'll see.
that's just
Yeah.
it just, I mean, it's a news story in the sense that, you know, it's something exciting, but it's not really news in the sense that it's just something to speculate about. But
Hmm.
I get excited about Mario Kart 8, like the idea of new stuff, you know. So,
Yeah.
and I agree with you. I would love Mario Kart 9 on Switch too, but it just gets into a weird territory where it's like, man, it was great for it was so good for Switch to have a Mario Kart game early in its life cycle, you know?
Hmm.
And then you feel like whatever the follow-up to Switch is, it would be great for it to have Mario Kart early in its life cycle, you know. But if we're
I
just getting started on a Mario Kart
yeah.
now, and then like it's like, oh, you get into a weird, you know,
I don't know. I think Switch is going to be around for a long time.
that'd be good.
I
That would
think
be good.
I think Switch is going to have like a 10-year life cycle at least.
Mm. Well, that'd
Is
be
my
great.
feeling.
That'd
Yeah.
be great. Yeah, it could be.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, something we do know for sure is happening. Castlevania returning to Netflix for season 2 on October 26th, and there are going to be 8 episodes. So I think eventually both of us became fans of this show, the first season, by the last couple episodes. So are you stoked for season 2?
Stoked is a little stronger language than I'd probably use, but I'm curious. Yeah, I mean, I'll watch it for sure. Um, I think I did like the first season definitely more in the end than I did
Yeah.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I'll watch it. It should be fun. I I doubt that I'll like totally love it, you know, but like it should be fun to check out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Halloween is a great time to do it too. I mean, that's cool.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. I wasn't too hot on the first couple episodes, but then by the last episode I was pretty sold on this show. So I'm definitely excited. Um I think
The last episode felt like a video game. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And like, so if
it
if
was
the new season
awesome.
will feel that way, that'd be good.
Yeah, for sure. And I also um have a theory here that would be a great time for Konami to actually tie in something video game related for Castlevania, which did not happen with the previous season. But I think I would love to see um, Symphony of the Night available on Switch to like kind of tie in with the L card stuff. And that's about as ambitious as my predictions here are going to get, but man, that would be perfect timing.
That would be perfect. What if it was part of a collection? That would also be perfect. And
yeah, I don't
look at
see
me,
that
see me, see how I'm
happening.
always like going to
Yeah.
the.
I mean, I think if they did like actually Rondo of Blood and um, Symphony of the Night would be really nice.
Yeah.
And then I know you had, and there was like that rumor that Simon Belmont in Smash
Mm.
that has not been confirmed. I think if there is a Castlevania character in Smash, I think it will be either Trevor Belmont or more likely Elcard.
Okay, well that'd be cool. Sure,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
it's my prediction,
Well
and it will
that
be announced around the time of the animation.
yeah, I mean that would be great. Be great if they. I mean, if they're just gonna drop Symphony of the Night as like a digital download or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I have to say digital as a download on Twitch, digital only game. Then yeah, they could announce it like late September, early October in the PR push for this show. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see. I was actually thinking about pulling my PS3 up and bringing it upstairs here into the office and hooking it up to this setup so I can play Symphony of the Night because I have it on my PS3. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Or I have a Saturn back here. I could try to get the Saturn version and play it there. I don't know.
No. The
Don't do
Saturn
that.
version's not good. It's only in Japanese and it's like $150.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a couple barriers there then. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I do want to play that game soon.
Yeah. Yep. I played through it again like 2 years ago. I played through it whenever the first season of the Castlevania animation came out.
Oh, it was last summer.
Okay, so yeah, I played through it again, and it's still so good, so good. Cool. Um, Another cool announcement of something that is actually happening. Um, Darius is coming to Switch in the form of the Darius Cosmic Collection. And this is a retail package, only announced for Japan so far, but Switch is region free, and these are shooters, so it's, might as well be a Western release. It's coming on February 28th, 2019, and it includes Darius, Darius 2, Sagaya, and Darius Gaiden, all the arcade versions. But there's also a special edition which includes Super Famicom, Master System, Mega Drive, and PC Engine Darius ports as well, which is the pricing here is kind of ridiculous because the arcade collection is about $50. The limited edition is about $150. It will include an arranged music CD, official materials book, and a miniature acrylic marquee. But with that version, you're getting like 9 Darius games. So it's a really cool collection. I'd love to see it released in the West, even digitally, at like a less ridiculous price point. But I think that even if it doesn't get a Western release, I will probably import at least the basic collection. And yeah, because I like these games a ton. It doesn't have doesn't have all the Darius hits, no G Darius in there, but it's still some pretty sweet shooters. So
I was trying to find if there was an image of the acrylic marquee. That sounds pretty
mhm.
cool. If it's like an arcade marquee, I think is what the idea is there, right? Like that could look pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't see any images of that. And then, I don't know much about the Darius games or whatever, but the thing that like jumps out to me a little bit about that announcement or whatever is like, oh, we've got like this collection of 4 games, or you can get the special edition that has like, way more games. And then, it's just hopefully, because I feel like when you get a collection of retro games like that and there's a bunch of games in there that they're porting, it's like, how good are the ports going to be? Like how much attention is being paid to like the quality of the
hmm
ports and stuff, So, I mean, they're probably fine. I'm sure they're fine. Hopefully they're fine. But
Yeah.
just makes me a little nervous when it's like, oh, and as a bonus, we'll throw in these other games. Like, like how much attention is, really getting put into that?
Yeah.
And then does that say something about like the level of detail that's being paid to the main games too that are part of the collection? So, because that didn't say anything as far as I saw about like who's porting them or anything like that, or like what the, so I mean, maybe it's just a simple, I don't know, whatever. Like it's not much to it, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I'm less interested in the console ports of these games. I actually own um Darius Twin on SNES. So like I'm more interested in the arcade versions. Um so yeah, I'd probably be fine with just the standard version here, but always good to have more shooters on the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
And will those
right.
have Tate mode?
No, because they're actually horizontal
Oh, okay.
shooters. One of
Okay.
the big things with Darius back in the day is they had like these like a super widescreen cabinet. That was one of like the huge draws to the games in the arcade.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, so they'll look really good on the Switch for sure.
Cool. Okay, well, we have one last story, and this falls into the me genre of news
hmm
stories, which is like kind of speculative and based on almost nothing. But
It's
Nintendo
your
did.
jam.
That is my jam. Yeah, Nintendo did a shareholder meeting recently, and they were asked about the Switch Online service. And in there, they quoted the fact that you can use a smart device application in which you can meet up with your friends in an online lounge and use voice chat during online play. And I think that probably doesn't mean anything because there's already an online lounge in the Nintendo Switch Online app. You probably wouldn't know from using the app, but apparently they refer to that as an online lounge. But just the language there, like, oh, you can, and this is translated too. I don't know if this is from an official, I think it's an official Nintendo translation, but still, you can meet up with your friends in an online lounge. It just sounded a little bit like party chat type thing, which, is not that different than just FaceTiming or Skyping your friends while you're playing a video game or whatever, because it's not like on an OS level on the actual system. But I don't know. I thought that would make the online app at least a little more appealing if, instead of, because it's pretty weird how it works now. Like with the one game it works with in Splatoon, you know what I mean? It's not that great. Like we could talk about it real quick. We just played some Splatoon online, a very small amount of it yesterday, just so I could test out my my wireless earbuds. Anyway, the experience of playing Splatoon online with a friend and using voice chat was really bad, just like it was the first time we tried it. But it was just so weird. Like I had to go into Splatoon, from Splatoon, the game on Switch, open up a lobby, then open up my phone, choose you from my friend list on my phone, not from my Switch. Then you got, I don't know how it all worked, but it was, it was a lot, and it was kind of annoying and wasn't that great. And if they would do something with the online app where you could just pull the app up, choose a friend from the list, or choose a couple friends, create like a party chat type lobby system, and then kind of go from there. That would make the ridiculous setup that is the Nintendo Switch online app on your phone at least slightly more appealing, I think. So
yeah,
I don't think that's probably what's happening here, but you would hope, one would hope, we would all hope that when this online system launches in September, the app gets refreshed in some kind of meaningful way so that it at least can, so they can at least present it as being a little more appealing than the cobbled together ridiculous solution that it is now. So
yep, one would hope.
Yeah, but I would say that like I said, one of the reasons we were playing Splatoon online yesterday was just to test out these wireless earbuds with the Splatoon, or with the Nintendo Online app, and that worked pretty well, I thought. Ryan, you're the one who could hear me, but I like the idea of, I bought these like $30 Chinese wireless earpods. They're like the Apple AirPods that a lot of people have now, but they're not really expensive. And I just put one in, and then had my sound coming out of my speakers or whatever, so I could hear the game audio, but then I could also hear you and whoever else we could have been playing with in the one ear. And it's got a microphone too, so that was a pretty convenient way to get around the issue of not being able to have your game audio and your chat audio all in one place. So
yeah, and like I just had my phone sitting in front of me, like on
speaker.
my desk. Yeah, and I wonder, like, that's the best solution I've found so far.
Yeah.
So that I can still like have my Switch audio, which I kind of like. I don't love wearing like headsets and stuff when playing online games. I kind of like the idea of just having my phone sitting in front of me. But it's also like super inelegant in a lot of other ways.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I could hear you pretty well, Granted,
yeah.
I had headphones in, so like if my phone was just sitting in front of me on speaker and your phone was sitting in front of you on speaker, I think we'd probably be able to hear each other okay. That's not exactly how we did it, but
yeah,
that could be good too, because I don't know, maybe that would almost be preferable, like you said, with the one headphone in or whatever. But
yeah, that was like the first time using this app. We've tried it a bunch of times, and that was the first time where I'm like, okay, I could kind of get used to this.
Yeah, but they need to add some other features. Like I could kind of get used to the idea of like having to talk through the phone while I'm playing the game, but you better at least make the experience of using the app on the phone like as good as possible, so that I can kind of forget about the fact that for some reason you're making me stick this phone out in front of me while I play. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. And I mean, like, geez, just like more games. Like, why have there not been more games added to this? Because we also played Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Street Fighter Anniversary Collection yesterday. And, obviously that's not part of this infrastructure.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, that would make that's like, that right there is a reason that the like a party chat type thing in the app would be great,
Yes.
Because it's like, well, the app's not going to send you an invitation to Street Fighter 2 or whatever, so it's like not really going to facilitate the online play in that regard. But if we could be talking to each other instead of like texting each other back and forth about like, okay, what lobby am I going into and how do we set this up and all that, like if we could just chat about it or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
That would definitely make it better. But
yeah. Yep. We shall see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Do you want to just talk about Street Fighter?
Sure, we could talk about Street Fighter.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts? Anniversary collection.
Yeah, it's a great collection. I mean, it's okay. I already had Street Fighter 2. What was that called? Street Fighter 2. I don't know, the one that came out last.
No. Ultra Street Fighter 2.
Ultra Street Fighter 2. Yeah, Ultra Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. because it's just Street Fighter 2 with a bunch of bells and whistles, but
Yeah.
in that one. So anyways, I already had that, and played that a fair amount on the Switch. But the idea with this one obviously is that you just have access to so many different Street Fighter games. Really cool. Like, I didn't play it for very long because it didn't seem very good or fun, but I played like Street Fighter, the original,
Yeah.
for a little bit. And I've never played that before. So that was cool. And then I went and played through Street Fighter Alpha. What game was it? The one I played through and finished. What's your favorite one on there? Because that's the one I went to first.
Alpha 2.
Alpha 2. Yeah, I went and played Street Fighter Alpha 2.
Nice. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was great. It was really fun. Yeah, I played through that whole thing, and I'd never played through that game before either. So,
yeah.
I mean, like, how many games are on here? 12 games?
12 games.
12 games. I'm not going to say like, oh yeah, since I've gotten Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, I've opened up all 12 games and played through all of them. Like, I haven't done that, but it's great to know that if I want to play some Street Fighter, like, like mainline Street Fighter, like, I can pop this thing open and play like pretty much any Street Fighter game I want to play. The emulation is really good, I thought. And the bonus features are super cool. Like, I probably spent a good 45 minutes the night I first played it, just like reading stuff about like all the different versions of the game. Yeah. Like, there's a page for each game that kind of like talks about the history of the game and the development process, and has like a little trivia, and then there's like all this concept art and other stuff like that. So that's great. Yeah, very full featured collection, really cool. I haven't had the like local multiplayer experience I don't want to have with it yet.
Yeah.
And but I think it's like I wanted to get it right away because I haven't gotten the Mega Man collection yet. And I really wanted to get that, but it was like, well, which one should I get first? Because I didn't have the money to get both of them. It's like, which one should I get first? And I just thought this one is going to be one that's like almost like Mario Kart or something. It's just going to be good to have.
Yeah.
Or like whenever I'm doing local Switch play, I can pop that thing open, and it'll be a game that I think I'll play in that kind of situation for years, So
yeah. Yeah, for sure. I also our friend Tyler told me about how you could boot up Street Fighter 3, the second version. I don't remember what the subtitle is, but there's 3 versions of Street Fighter 3, and the second version you can boot up, and it had a widescreen mode in the arcade. And I booted that up on my 55-inch 4K TV, and it was so gorgeous. Like, it looked so good. And that's really cool. I have like very little experience with Street Fighter 3. But yeah, that was really, really cool. And just so much detail in the alpha games and Street Fighter 3, and like the animation and the backgrounds and everything. It's really awesome to just have like easy access to those. Yeah, I mean, really the only con I've found to this collection is the online experience. I played some Street Fighter 3 online when I first got it, just against like random people, and it ran extremely poorly. There were a lot of hiccups, and then yesterday, like, you and I played, we played some Street Fighter 2, some Super Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Alpha 3, and Street Fighter 3. We played all of the 4 games that were online, and really Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting is the only, or Turbo, I don't remember which one it is, but that was the only one we didn't have like horrible like spikes of lag.
Yeah, that was weird because and it was interesting how they do the online system in this game too, because like if I'm playing you online, we both get to choose which of the 4 games that are online enabled that we want to play. But if you and I choose different ones, then it like kind of, it I guess randomly chooses which one it's going to go with or whatever. So I assumed like when you created a lobby, you would create a Street Fighter 2 hyper fighting lobby or a Street Fighter 3, whatever. But like,
You can do that.
oh, you can't do that?
Yeah, you can basically check off which games you want to be included in your lobby, and
Oh,
I
okay.
just left all four
Okay.
checked. But if
Yeah,
we
that's
had decided, okay, we're just gonna play hyper fighting or whatever, then like I would have just left that one checked and unchecked the other ones.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, because basically like that's the only one that works as far as I can tell,
Yeah.
which is really weird. I don't quite understand that, but I guess I don't really get how like, networking, like net play or whatever they call it. Like I guess I don't really get how that works, but it just seems odd that, I mean, if you have, I don't know, whatever it is, like the infrastructure you would have to build for one of those games seems like if it's already running within that collection and you got the servers or whatever, technical stuff, like it almost seems to me like it's like, I'm sure anybody who programs stuff like this would be like puking right now, like hearing me say this, but it just almost seems like, I don't know, like if you have an online game and like Smash Brothers, for instance, like one level works online, the other level doesn't. It just seems weird. Like you'd think if you get the game running online, it would run okay online. So I don't know if they'll. I mean, I would assume they'll patch and maybe try to get the other games running a little better. But
yeah, haven't had great experiences with that. Like, and my question is like, are these Street Fighter servers, are they based on like our connections, or are they like Capcom servers? Are they Nintendo servers? What's the deal? Because I play Splatoon 2 and it runs perfectly fine every time. Like
yeah,
I never have lag playing Splatoon 2 online.
well, and I feel like I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, it's got to be on their end, and even that, it's probably not even to me it seems like something with the programming of the game, because when we play Street Fighter 2 it runs great, right? So like hyper fighting, it runs great. So like I don't think it's our connection. I mean, is there that much more data that has to be sent back and forth on Street Fighter 3 than there is Street Fighter 2? Like that doesn't, I don't think that makes sense, so I mean, I guess it could, I don't know, but it just seems to me like our connection's fine, because the game will run online fine if you choose the right version of it. If you choose a different one, it doesn't. So I don't know.
Real weird. I wonder, I haven't looked into it, but like how it runs on other platforms, like how on like Xbox One or PS4, how the online is. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a good chunk of the audience who would pick that game up with the primary intention, or primary I guess appeal of the game being that they want to play online against people. Like I want to go online every day and see if I can take on like really good players and be better than them or whatever, in which case I guess you'd have to think about whether or not you want to get the game at this point, just because it doesn't really run that great. But for me, it's like it's almost like a bonus, playing online. Like I'm not going to go online and play a bunch of random people, and
sure,
I mean, it'd be fun to play against you online, but mostly like for local. And honestly, like I was as much into getting it for like all the bonus content and flyers and concept art and everything is like as everything else. So it's a bummer that the online isn't working like super well, at least right now it seems. But for me, it's not that big of a part of the experience for me, so I'm not as worried about it. But definitely kind of acknowledge the fact that for some people that might be the biggest reason they want the game. So
yeah.
But the real quick, I was just going to say too, like I just love how you can read about like the different, like the attention to detail, like, oh, this is the arcade board that was used in this game versus this other game, and like I don't know, like, oh, this game came out and initially used this board, but then it was updated to use this other board. Like all that stuff, just to be able to read about that is really cool, I think. But then also, I was noticing too, as I was going through, like looking at Street Fighter 2 and then like, Street Fighter Alpha and Street Fighter, looking at all these different versions. It's kind of cool. Like if you play them in chronological order, or just open them up and like mess around with them a little bit in chronological order, like you get this, like, it's almost like like a timeline of like arcade technology and like sort of like
Hmm.
what like the music changes and the vibe and everything. And it feels very early 90s in the beginning, but by the end it feels like mid to late 90s. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like a cool way to kind of take a look at arcade history almost,
Yeah,
like a chunk of it, obviously. But that's an appealing part of the whole experience as well, I think.
for sure. For sure.
All right.
Okay. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon.
Yeah, I loved this game. I really loved it.
Yep.
I was super into it, super into it. It was kind of perfect to me. This is not the first what Inti creates like 8-bit or 16-bit style game
Hmm.
that they've done, like new game that they've done in recent years.
Yeah.
I've played a couple of the other ones that they've put out, like what's the name of that fellow, the Mega Man inspired fellow? They
Mighty
did,
Number Nine.
yeah, but the no, the other one,
Mighty
Gunvolt.
Gunvolt.
Yeah. So I played
Yeah,
Mighty Gunvolt. They did that, right?
which was good. Yep.
It was good, but like this one, I don't know. I really enjoyed Mighty Gunvolt, but
Hmm.
this one was just
This
like
is
a
on
whole
a whole
different,
nother
yeah,
level.
a whole
Yeah.
different level of just like, oh my god, this is a Castlevania game from the NES era, but like updated in all the right ways, but faithful
Hmm.
in all the right ways. Where it's just like a really great experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think like personally, and I'm like a huge fan of a lot of stuff Inti Creates has done. Like I love I like Mega Man 9. I love Mega Man 10. I really loved Blaster Master Zero. Um I liked Mighty Gunvolt, but I think this is like the best game in the style that they've done. Um it's yeah, it's so good.
Mm.
Um, so let's start by talking about how much we've played of it. You have finished it twice, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So you did your and I guess this is like minor spoiler territory.
Yeah.
I guess, but like I mean if you don't want to know anything about this game and you haven't played it yet, just tune out for the next I don't know, we'll probably talk about this a good 10-15 minutes.
Yeah. Like
But
who's out there that's like dying to play this $9.99 game and like cares enough about it that they don't want the lore spoiled and yet, have waited 2 months to get it. I don't know.
yeah.
If you are that person, that
It's
rare
cool.
case, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
just go buy the game and play it and then
buy
come
it.
back.
Email me. I'll send you $10 in credit so you can get it.
Don't say that. I won't
Nobody
do
emails
that.
us. We're not going to get any emails. It's
I
fine.
won't do that.
Yeah, me neither. I thought that was implied. All right, fine. Anyway, you should play it. It's great. So
Yeah.
yes,
So your first playthrough, did you like have all of the allies come with you?
yes, I did. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And I didn't until I had already played through the game. I didn't realize that I had the option to like murder them instead of bringing them with me. So
Yeah.
yeah, totally. Yep. And that's kind
Cool.
of like I'm too much of a I don't know how you put this, but like I would feel unethical in killing them and not like if I knew they could be my buddies and come with me. I don't know. Like I could never do that. I don't think like in an RPG or something like, oh, this person wants to join your party, or you can just slaughter them. Like I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I brought them with me. Did you?
Okay. Yeah, my first playthrough, I brought everyone with me, and that brings you to one of the endings. Um, and then, so I haven't finished it a second time. I actually have two simultaneous replays going on right now
Okay.
that I've switched back and forth between. I have one replay because I wanted to just see what happens when you do kill someone. So I have one replay where I didn't want to kill Miriam because she's the first person that you can encounter. Um, and she's actually my favorite to play as.
Oh yeah.
I think like her controls are just the best. She's got the whip. She's got
Yep.
like the best special weapons. Not the best, but like the most quintessential Castlevania special weapons, and then she has the slide. So I really like her. So I didn't kill
Well,
her.
and she isn't she the primary character in the actual Bloodstain game?
It seems that way, yeah.
Yeah, I
But
think she is
now,
too. So,
yeah,
which makes sense. Like you're gonna spotlight your main character from the upcoming game by making her like the most fun and the coolest character in this
that's
game.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. But I did kill the old dude, who I can't remember his name right now.
He's not a lot of fun to play as, but he is useful at times.
Yeah,
So
like
yeah,
I like his like homing lightning spell that just like flies back and forth across the screen, like hitting enemies multiple times.
yeah. I like
Um,
his circle, the fire barrier circle thing.
oh
Like when you're
yeah,
walking through an area where stuff drops from the ceiling, just turn that thing on and walk through, and don't worry about it. You know.
yeah,
So
like the art of the fire wheel in Ninja Gaiden
yeah.
is basically that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I killed him, and then the main dude, who's like pretty much the lamest. Um,
Dengetsu is
yeah,
that his name?
yeah. He when I killed the old guy, he got a double jump ability, which
Oh,
actually made him like a lot more fun to play. Um,
well, that's interesting because I was thinking you would just get like a trait of the character you killed or whatever.
no, that's what I thought too.
That's cool.
Yeah, so then that if you kill like one or two of the allies, that gets you a different ending as well. And then if you kill all of them, that gets you a different ending as well. But then the way to the true ending, which is I think what you did, was the nightmare mode, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's when you start with everyone except Zangetsu,
Yep.
um, and just play through the game to save his soul.
Yes. Right. Yep. So yeah, exactly. And so it's a little tougher because in the what's the original the cat well see because both times I play it on I can't remember if it's called casual now or
Yeah,
whatever
casual
casual
or veteran. Mm-hmm.
yeah casual and veteran. So I played on casual and just played through. I saved everybody or whatever, brought them all into my party, and then finished the game. And then when I started over, I started on nightmare. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
did nightmare, but I started on veteran. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, well, okay, I've already played the game once. I might as well just do this veteran mode, whatever. And I
Yeah.
was like, ooh, and I'm down a guy and just like, nah. So I did that
Yeah.
for like 1 or 2 levels. And I was like, nope, nope. And I went
Yep.
back and played it on casual in Nightmare.
Yeah.
So,
And you can change the difficulty at like any time.
oh, okay. I think I started over.
Oh
Maybe I
yeah.
didn't.
No,
Maybe I
you
didn't.
can like just exit out of the game and load your save file,
Mm-hmm.
and you can select the difficulty there. It
Okay.
lets you select every time, which is
Yeah,
cool.
that is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I did that, and you play through the game, and it's the same game. You're just a character down, basically. But
Well, but the benefit is you have different character abilities earlier in the game.
yeah, because you don't have to wait until you rescue those or have
Yeah.
those people join your party. Yeah, that's true.
Because like in the very first level, there's a spot like right at the beginning of the game where you can turn into a bat and fly up and get to this like previously inaccessible area.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say about the game. Well, so I'll just finish up by saying that then when you get to the end of the nightmare mode, the last level of the game is different than the last level of the game in the first mode, whatever that was called again, regular mode, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's either 8 stages or 9 stages in the game. I think
8 in the original.
okay, 8. So I think it's been like unfortunately we should have talked about this game a while ago because A, it would have been new, and B, I would have played it more recently. But I think instead of the standard 8th stage, you don't do that stage, and instead there's a different 8th stage
Okay.
at the end of nightmare mode when obviously you're going to get Zangetsu or fight him or whatever, save his soul, yada yada. Anyway, but yeah, it's just a different stage. So most of the game is exactly the same in terms of like the stage layout and the stages you go to and stuff. But then the last one is different. So I thought that was cool. And yeah, different final boss fight, obviously, but then also a different level to get through, and it forces you to kind of do certain sections as each character. So it has like little areas built for each one, challenge areas kind of to get through as each individual character. So
Okay.
that was kind of cool because like normally, you know, I'm not using the old guy unless I
Yeah.
want to use one of his spells for something specific or whatever. But there was a couple screens where it's like you have to play as him, and a couple screens where you have to play as the alley card stand-in, and you know all that stuff. So that was cool. But I was going to say that I think if there, you know, obviously there are some areas where the game is a little, you know, weaker than others, and I think like the exploring each level thing was not something that was really all that exciting to me. And
Yeah.
usually when I would like turn into a bat or slide into an area with Maria, well, not Maria, no, what is her name?
Miriam.
Miriam. Yeah, I think I'm getting my franchises crossed here,
Yeah.
but anyway, when I would do that, like most of the time I would feel underwhelmed by what I found, you
Yep.
know, or if I would take a different branching path, most of the time I would feel like you know, it was barely a noticeable change in the experience. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of reasons to replay this game. And like I played through it once and finished it, and I played it again like immediately after, and I had a great time playing through it a second time. And I think all these like little things that they do with like, you know, you can, like you were just talking about how you, if you don't choose to bring those people into your party, you get different abilities. Like all that stuff is really cool. And the nightmare and casual mode and all that, like just, it's a really full featured game in terms of replayability. But I think if, you know, you're more of a Metroidvania, Castlevania kind of person where it's like, you know, exploring and going back to areas you've been to and, you know, with new abilities and all that kind of stuff, like, well, number one, it doesn't really have that in this game, but, you know, even when you can take different paths, it's just not that rewarding, I don't think.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't really found anything off the beaten path that um, really compels me to be like, oh wow, that was a great secret. I'm gonna, you know, that's what I'm gonna do every time I play it. Most of like the like major upgrades to your whatever magic points and your health are just found like right in the middle of stages. Taking the regular path. What I've found is like in taking some of like the secret paths, the previously inaccessible paths, stuff like that, is it's just like harder. They'll just be like harder enemies,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, why would I do that?
Yeah, it'll be harder, but it's not like there's anything particularly cool about like the layout of the room or
Yeah,
anything. Like it's just, yeah, totally.
yeah,
I do think though, like when you're playing through the game for the first time and you don't really know like how that's all going to play out, like when you walk into a room and there's that like skeleton like pointing to like the easiest path or whatever, I just it's cool. Like it turns out to be shallow, but it implies like, ooh, you really want to go this way because the other way is going to be like a totally different, you know. And I mean,
yeah,
I guess like if you do go the other way, you have harder enemies or whatever. But it's just, I don't know. It gives I'm not sure exactly how to describe it, but it just gives you this feeling that there's like this richness to it that maybe there isn't quite in reality, but it's
yeah.
still a cool thing to hint at, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And I think uh so I'm in like stage 7 in nightmare mode. And I'm on like stage 6 in my like one kill mode.
Mm-hmm.
Um but I think like after I wrap those up, I do um want to the play through and kill each of the allies, because I think that will change the dynamic a ton. Because that means, well, you're going to be getting new abilities. I don't know what all those abilities are. Like I mentioned, if you know, killing one guy, like I got the double jump.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know what the other abilities are. But that will, like, for example, if you don't get a slide, then there will be parts where like you could upgrade your health, but it's like, oh, you have to slide in here to get the upgrade. Like you won't be able to do that. And like that's interesting because that, you know, is going to change how you play. Or if like, you know, Zangetsu gets like super powered up, then maybe it will be like easier. I don't know. Like that I think will be interesting to replay.
Yeah, and the boss battles would be interesting too. I think you'll have to get like really good at the boss fights because
Yeah.
right now you can rely on sort of like, oop, well, this one character's health is really low, I'll switch over to this other
Yep.
one, and
For sure.
so not being able to do that because you're limited to just Sengetsu would be interesting, I think, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So.
yeah, and the thing is too, like a couple other things I'll say about it real quick.
Mhm.
It's under 2 hours, I think, to play through the whole game. In terms of the game clock, anyway. Like how long it
Mhm.
takes to get through. Like if you're
Yeah.
playing through a bunch of level or a level a bunch of times, dying and having to start over. Like obviously, I spent way more than 2 hours with the game. In
Mhm.
my 2 playthroughs, probably closer to 10, I would guess. But
Yeah.
I think that's great because, like, it's a $10 download. It's a small game, and
Mhm.
I didn't necessarily want to be like, banging my head against the wall, trying to get through this game and feeling like it was going to be this major, effort and investment to get through it. So I think it was a fun, pretty light type thing. But then obviously there
Mhm.
are those, options to make it way harder if you want to extend the length of it or the difficulty of
Yeah.
it. So I think that it was really smart the way they structured it with all the difficulty stuff and different ways of playing the game. So that's really impressive and cool. But then also, I got to say too, my 9-year-old son Owen, he started playing when we were on a road trip and the Switch was in the car, and he started playing through different stuff that he hadn't played at home. And he started playing it, and he loved it. He really, really liked it,
Mm.
and he was able to. He's never played a difficult 8-bit game, really. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's not super difficult, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a kid who's mostly played like 3D games and modern games, and
Mhm.
he's never even played like really like played like Super Mario World or anything, Metroid, nothing. So he doesn't have a
Yeah.
lot of experience with this kind of game, and he loved it. So they were able to craft a game here that is, I think, really uh, true to like the experience, like a Castlevania 3 type experience on NES, but update it and modernize it in a way that makes
Mhm.
it more accessible now to people who played those games in the past. But like in my experience, they were even able to make something that and my 4-year-old was like watching him, and like they were both really into it. And they thought the bosses were cool, and like they
Yeah.
really really liked it. Like, and I can see where if you didn't get that quite right, where little kids or whatever would look at this and be like, "What is this?" and go back to Fortnite or whatever. You know what I mean? Not want to play
Mhm.
like. So I don't know. That was something for me where I already loved the game. I was already done with it
Yeah.
by the time they got to it. But then when they started playing it and really thought it was cool and enjoyed it and had fun with it, I was like, man, this game is really good. The fact that I loved it, people who like harder games than me like it,
Mhm.
and then, my kids are even getting, hooked by it. I just thought it was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, and I think um they managed to capture like everything about like Castlevania 3, but like it just plays a little bit better. It just feels better. Being able to jump onto stairs and um, the speedier movement of the characters and stuff. Like that's uh, just it just feels good to
Yeah.
play too, and that's not always the case. Like going back to like the types of games that inspired it, and I think like enemy placement is like way more fair in this game, way more deliberate. Um,
Oh, that's another thing we didn't talk about is the fact that on casual mode you don't have the knockback, which is
yes.
kind of like once you don't have it, you're like, oh man, so nice to play it without that. Like it feels
Totally.
so good to not have these
Yeah.
cheap like knocked into a pit because you bumped into a dude thing. Like that's pretty great.
Yeah, yeah. I did a little bit of veteran, and then was like, yeah, I'm totally cool with playing this on casual because it like even on casual, like you still have to work for it.
Yeah.
Like you still have to like actually um, you know, play through the game and you have to learn boss patterns and everything. But like the benefits of casual mode are no knockback. enemies don't take as much health off you, and you have infinite lives,
Yeah.
which is something we have always been huge proponents of
Yeah.
on this podcast. Is don't make me start a game like a whole stage over and redo a bunch of stuff because like I lost the arbitrary 4 lives or whatever.
Yeah.
Like just let me continue the challenge right at that spot. Uh,
I think even on nightmare mode, if you lose a character, when you start with a new character, it doesn't bring you all the way back to the very beginning of the level, which is
no.
cool.
Yeah.
Because a game like, I don't know, let's say Sonic Mania would probably totally put you back, probably put you 2 stages ago, you know, just to
Yep.
like
that
so.
And that was really annoying in Sonic Mania.
Which is a great game, but you know,
yep.
I don't think they quite hit the mark in terms of like accessibility and difficulty with that game the way that this one did. So
yeah, for sure.
And I don't think it would have hurt that game at all. I think it would have made it just a little better if they had
just give us the option.
Like, it's just a menu setting. Like when you die, do you want to go back 2 stages? Do you want to go back like, you know, where do you want to do? So yeah. Anyway, but I don't know. I think Curse of the Moon is probably my game of the year so far. You know,
like
I think it's my favorite thing I've played. So.
Like because it's the one I want to like keep replaying, and I keep picking it back up. You know, like I finished God of War on PS4 this year, and that is a like masterpiece of the medium. But I'll never pick it up again. Like I'll never replay that. Whereas this, like, I could totally see myself booting this game up, you know, 5-10 years from now.
Yeah.
And playing through it again. Like, even right now, I'm enjoying like different replays and stuff. And a couple more things on the game, aesthetic wise. I really like the stage names. They are like awesome, like black metal song titles, like Blasphemy Unto Heaven. That's great. And I felt like not the bosses, but the general enemy design felt a bit more grotesque than Castlevania. It actually felt a little bit more like Splatterhouse-esque to me. I don't know if you got that vibe at all.
A little bit, yeah, slightly. Like I remember there were parts when I was playing with Owen, and I was like, he's like, is that like blood all over the wall? And I was like, yeah, the wall definitely has like a bunch of blood all over it. But yeah, I think in the 8-bit, you know, vibe, it's like, it's pretty abstract still a lot of times, but yeah, definitely a little more I could see.
I mean, I guess like the bosses are kind of all over the place. Like you have like, you know, the treasure room guy who's basically like a Mega Man boss. He's kind of silly. But then you have like the succubus lady who like starts and she's in the bathtub of blood. And then like she has it like actually raining blood.
Yeah, that's true.
In that, like, I don't know. And even just some of like the enemies are like a little like teethy, and there's some like the scissor man guy is like a little on the spoopier end of things. It's not just like skeletons and mummies and stuff like that. Like there's I don't know, they've got some teeth to them. And I really appreciate and like that a lot.
Yeah, because it doesn't have the like universal monster type thing, you know, like Castlevania. So it does get a little more, for sure, like a little more gross and horror type thing versus like that universal style. So totally.
Yeah.
Do we know? Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, this is also probably my game of the year so far, and it really has made me even more excited for Bloodstained.
Yeah, and do we know when Bloodstained is coming out yet? Like, have they announced? I don't think they have.
I think the release date has changed a few times.
Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering if it's 2018 at this point or if it's 2019.
I would probably say 2019.
Yeah.
At this point, but I can wait.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. You picked up Luminous.
I did pick up Lumines. I've never played it before, so I was really excited about getting it on Switch just because I'd heard
Nice.
so much about how great it is.
Yeah.
It's very cool. I feel like I'm not very good. Like on my
Yeah.
friends list right now, I'm about like I think half like the points of actually you and Jeremy Parrish are very close on my friends list in terms of like your top scores or whatever. Um, and I'm about half of what you guys have. And then I do have a couple friends who are like twice what you guys have. So,
Mm.
I feel like Ryan, forgive me for saying so, but I feel like it seems like based on the high score there, you were kind of like an average Luminous player.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so, since I only do like half the points you do, I feel like I'm a very bad Luminous player. And I'm doing the mode, the only mode I've really tried is the one that's like try to get to level 100 or whatever.
Yeah.
I can tell you I'm not even close to level 100, Ryan. I'm like getting to like level 6 or 7 or something. I don't know. Like, can't get very far. So, I don't know. Have you ever gotten like to level?
No, I've
No.
never been great at this
Okay.
game. Like I like it a ton, but it's not one of my strong puzzle games.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I can play like Tetris or like Panel de Pon for a while. Even like Puyo Puyo, like I can play it for a while in endless mode, but this one I'm like just grasping the entire time, like frantic. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it's tough, and but like it really there is the incentive to get further because that means you get like more songs, more music,
Yep.
and then you can play those songs. You can make your own mix of like songs you want and don't want
Oh,
in
okay.
other modes.
Okay.
I believe, I think so.
Okay.
Not 100% on that now, um but yeah, I mean you can at least access them in like some other capacities. So like I want to like get all the songs and stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of I've not made it through a lot of songs, and I don't really understand how people who like get to like level 97 or whatever, like how they do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah,
and so like the game is simple, like it's pretty simple, I guess, but then like I feel like there's this layer of complexity to it that I don't quite get because
yeah,
obviously like you have these squares or like you get like like a square with four little boxes within it and they're different
mhm,
colors and they come in different color combinations and you're trying to get four of them together in a square to eliminate those. So like first off, I'm playing it for the first time, like, and bringing my Tetris brain to it, but it works
mhm,
kind of differently than Tetris, so the first day that I was playing it, I was just kind of I don't know, didn't really know what was going on at all. But then I'm starting to piece it together, but I feel like you just like there's a whole different like strategy to kind of use with this game because of the way the blocks come down in that box and the fact that it's not just about getting four in a line or something. It's about, making another box of four of the same color. So there's just a different way of approaching things in that regard. But yeah, I think it seems like to really get the score up, which I think is how you advance levels, right?
mhm,
Is putting together like chains and combos and stuff. I think, right? Because I'm playing and like my score is going up very very slowly, but then every once in a
mhm.
while it'll jump like a ton, and I think it's because I've accidentally chained together some kind of like group of uh, of blocks that like gives me a score boost. So I would assume the people that are really good are doing more of that as well. I was
Yeah,
actually thinking about like watching some gameplay of it. I haven't done it yet, but like try to watch like a video of somebody who's like really good at it and just sort of like look at what they're doing. But anyway, yeah, I mean, we haven't really talked, I guess, about like how integral the music is to the whole situation, but you have to put together these sets of four in a square, but they get cleared when the bar kind of slides across the screen, which is in time with the song, and that changes depending on what song you're listening to, like the speed of that. So that's really cool. The music is, I really like the music. I love the first song. Some of the other songs, like, I don't love as much necessarily. Not like, it's just like the first song's really good, and then it kind of it goes up and down from there, I guess, in terms of the quality of the few songs I've actually heard. But the HD Rumble is really cool when you play in handheld mode. But I found it's actually even like way cooler when I play in docked mode. Have you played it all in docked mode?
Yes.
You have?
Yep,
okay.
I have.
Yeah, because I just noticed I was playing in docked mode, and like the thing was rumbling like crazy, like super hardcore. And I noticed it was almost like doing its own like it was almost the rumble was almost acting as an instrument, as like adding another like fill or like another layer to the song. So it wasn't just like going along with exactly what you were hearing on the screen. It was like almost like adding another instrument into the mix, and kind of it was doing its own thing. And I was like, wow, this is super cool. So
yeah, for sure. Because I've played with headphones in portable mode, and then I don't have a full sound system to my TV, but like we have a sound bar and a subwoofer. So like I cranked that up and played for a while, and it was pretty great.
yeah.
Pretty great experience. And yeah, the HD Rumble is awesome with the Joy-Con, attached to the Switch, and it's also great with the Pro Controller as well. They really did a nice job with the HD Rumble.
Have you tried the attaching multiple Joy-Cons to your body thing?
I have not tried that. Okay. We do have multiple Joy-Cons here.
Yeah.
So I could do it, but
I have 4 Joy-Con here now because Owen got a Switch. So
yeah,
but I don't have a Pro Controller, so I would probably need, like, if I was going to attach 4 of those things to my I would still want a controller with some HD Rumble built into it to play, I think, because I could use my 8-bit Do controller, but then I wouldn't get the Rumble on the controller too. So who knows? I haven't even stuck Mario Kart into my Labo steering wheel yet. So just because it's an extra step to take. So
yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be attaching Joy-Con to my body anytime soon, but it would be fun. Maybe in a multiplayer. Maybe if I like have some buds over sometime and they bring their Switches too. We have a bunch of Joy-Con around. That could be fun to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so one last question about Luminous. I know that Lindsay is way better at Dr. Mario than us.
No, that's not necessarily true.
Yes,
not necessarily true. We had a battle in Dr. Mario on NES not too long ago, and
that's cool. So you got lucky once, but I mean, she's way better at
we
Mario.
tied.
You got lucky that one time and tied her, but she's better at Dr. Mario.
I mean, overall, she's better at puzzle
I'm just
games.
wondering if she's played Luminous and if she's really good at Luminous.
She thought it was interesting, but she has not actually bought it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have 2 more games I can talk about quickly.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very quickly, I'll talk about the Breath of the Wild Champions Ballad DLC. Everybody else in the world's probably already played this. I think you've already played it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least as much as you were wanting to play it.
Yeah.
So I remember you talking on the show about the one-hit obliterator section and being kind of turned off by that and not loving it. The one-hit obliterator section of this DLC is what it opens with.
Yeah.
You get this item where you can kill any enemy with 1 hit, but you also will be killed by any enemy with 1 hit, including like Keese or like, slimes or whatever. What do they call the slimes? Choo-choos. You can get killed by anything with 1 hit. So you can get killed by a swarm of bees in 1 hit when you have this thing.
Yeah.
And I was thinking it was like, oh, well, if I equip that item, then I'll get killed in 1 hit. And if I don't have it equipped, I won't. But nope, no matter what, you get killed with 1 hit in this section of the DLC.
Yeah.
But I actually really ended up liking that a lot by the time I got done with it. Like, I thought it was pretty fun. The first area I went to when I had to try to figure out how to kill all the enemies without getting without getting hit even once. It was
Mhm.
a little frustrating at first, but by the time I got into the swing of it, I was like, you know what? This is like, there's not that many enemies in each like encampment that you go to. So it's
Yeah.
like maybe takes you 10 minutes each encampment, maybe
Yeah.
when you do it successfully. And there was one or two where I kept like dying in a certain part over and over, but it was kind of fun to sneak around and try to figure out like how to kill all those enemies without being noticed or hit or whatever. So, I mean, it's definitely an interesting choice, especially as a way to start the DLC. Like you can't even get any
Mhm.
further into it unless you do all
Yeah.
this one hit obliterator stuff. But I ended up actually kind of being into it overall because it was pretty brief. Like there's 4 areas you have to go to. Maybe it was only 3. Can't remember if it's 3 or 4, but anyway, 3 or 4 different areas you go to and take on these enemy encampments without getting hit. And then there's a shrine to do afterwards. And I don't know. I ended up liking it. Okay. And
Mhm.
then now I'm into like, I guess the main section of the DLC. And I've only done one of those main sections so far. And I think there's 4 of those as well. And it seems like the pattern or whatever the structure is, you find what's the name of the bird that plays the songs? The bard. What is that fellow's name? Man, I can't believe I can't remember his name right now. But that guy is playing his accordion thing, and
Uh-huh.
he sings you a song and tells you like gives you a hint at 3 different areas you need to go to. And when
Yeah.
you go to them and do some task, it unlocks another shrine. So you open up like 3 shrines, and then after that, you go back up into whatever divine beast is in the area you're in. And that part I think is less cool so far anyway, because then you just like, at least in the first one I did the 3 shrines. That was fun because it was like I had to figure out where they were, had to do some kind of challenge to get them to open up. And the shrine itself is fun to do. So like I was all into that. But then, it sends you up to the divine beast and like you just fight the boss again. And I was like, okay. And maybe they changed it a little bit, but I was like, not as into
Mhm.
that. Divine beasts in general, I don't love in Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild. And like going back to them just so I can fight the boss again. I don't know. I didn't really need it.
Yeah.
So um anyway, I guess what I wanted to say about the Champions Ballad DLC is that Breath of the Wild is still like my favorite game. I love it, and
Mhm.
it's cool to have an excuse to go in and play a little more Breath of the Wild here. But definitely, while I think this DLC is good, and I'm glad I have it, and I'm going to keep playing it and finish it, I don't think it really captures or represents like what's really, really great about Breath of the Wild, which is a
Yeah.
feeling of exploration and finding things and exploring you know, a world in your own terms. It doesn't really have much of that at all. It kind of reverts back to a much more standard Zelda experience, which is like, you know, um, we're going to put you on a quest. You need to do 3 things. When you do those 3
Mhm.
things, you'll get to a dungeon. In this case, you won't even do a dungeon, but you'll fight a boss and then like you'll rinse and repeat. And that's what it feels like to do the
Yeah.
DLC. And Breath of the Wild never really felt like that. It never really felt like here's a couple objectives, go finish them. When you finish them, you'll be in a dungeon. You'll use that weapon in the dungeon. I mean, you don't do that here, but you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
there was a very kind of structured and predictable way of playing through Zelda games for a long time, and Breath of the Wild completely, did away with that in most respects. And then the DLC is kind of reverting back to something much more predictable and just kind of, jump through these hoops to get to a thing and then do that again, except for somewhere else. It's just, I don't know. It's fun. And the game is so good that it's just like I said before, give me an excuse to go in and do some new content in Breath of the Wild, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a fun little bonus and not something that is like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a meaningful, addition to the experience, the primary experience of the game, I think. Is
Mhm.
that fair? Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I played through the one hit part. And I think I did about as much as you've described, like um one section of the DLC, and then I just wasn't really feeling it.
Hmm.
It just didn't really do much for me. I actually haven't gone back to Breath of the Wild since that, but it's always in the back of my mind, like, man, it would be fun just to pop into Breath of the Wild and just run around and maybe find some Korok seeds or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, other stuff just keeps coming out, and
Well,
yeah.
I finally have, like, after I finished Breath of the Wild the first time, I got 120 shrines. I got my cool, like, retro Link looking outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to have a reason to run around and play in that for
Sure.
a while too. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I put in the notes here. I don't know how, like, realistic it would be, or like how, how realistic it would be to expect them to do this. But I think I would have, like, preferred, even if it only took like 2 or 3 hours to play through, I think I would have preferred if they would have just created like a new area, even if it was small, or something where it just more accurately replicated like what was good about Breath of the Wild, where even if it was really short, I felt like that in that time that I was playing, I was like really exploring and finding things, and I could do it all at my own pace. And like, I don't need the story, because they're kind of like expanding the story of the champions or whatever, in this DLC. And like, I don't care about that at all, really, to be honest. Sorry. I just want to like have an area that I can run around and find things in and be surprised when I find things, and be able to just kind of, I don't know, do it, like I said, at my own pace, and not feel like I'm being kind of, I don't know, just to feel like it's more open and stuff. So
Yeah.
But then, I mean, I guess the point of DLC too is just to kind of, throw a little extra something in there and give you maybe a little different kind of experience. So I think it's fine that it's not that, but that would be, I think, something that would be more fun. So I don't know if there's a sequel to Breath of the Wild coming down the road here in a year or two, or if they're going to do, I don't know what they're going to do with Zelda, 3D Zelda next, but that's what I'm really wanting, is that
feeling of exploration.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's what I want too. That's
Yeah.
why Breath of the Wild felt so great.
Ooh, you know what else I want though?
I
also want a Link Between Worlds on the Switch. I don't know why, but I really want to play that game again, but I want to play it on my Switch.
Yeah, I'd be totally cool with that.
I just feel like that could be like a late 2018, not surprise, but like a, I don't know, probably not, but
I don't think it's
not happening.
No, I think I mean, it's not happening for 2018.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, but
yeah, maybe not. Yeah, probably not.
But yeah, that would be a great port. I would love an excuse to replay that game. I mean, I have it on 3DS. Like, I could just play it on 3DS, but a different way to play it would be cool.
Right. And in HD and everything, you know what I mean? Would be cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Have you been playing Octopath Traveler at all, Ryan?
I have. I'm only about 4 hours in, but oh my goodness, that's a really good game. I like it a lot. It took me, like, the structure of it is so weird and so different than, your traditional JRPG. Despite the visuals, like, because I don't know, it's like this weird cross between like a linear JRPG, because when you're in areas, when you're in dungeons and stuff, they're pretty straightforward. You can go off the beaten path and find a treasure chest or something, but it's not like it's not Breath of the Wild. It's not like this huge just open game. You have like your objectives and stuff, but where it does feel open is the way you recruit characters to your party. And you choose your starting character. You can choose any of the 8 characters and start their story, and then as you're playing, like, you have marked on your map different where the other characters are, and you can go in quite a few different directions and choose whose story you continue in different orders. Like, Lindsay and I are both playing it, and we are having completely different experiences. And depending on, like, we're getting to bosses at different points with completely different people in our parties, and it's a totally different experience. for each of us, and it's really really cool. And I think that this might be like one of those rare JRPGs that might actually be pretty fun to replay.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when I finish like a linear style JRPG, like I don't really ever feel compelled to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But like this one, because there are so many variables, it might actually be fun to like, oh, what happens if I start with this character, and then instead of getting this one in my party next, I go in a completely different direction and, play through this other um, story,
Yes.
instead.
So there's 8 characters, obviously, which is why it's called Octopath Traveler, and they have different chapters for like those characters. So like I finished the first chapter for the character that I was playing as. I think I finished the first chapter. I finished like the main first objective or whatever, like beat the first boss, like whatever. I don't know if that's the first chapter or not, but I thought so. But anyway, then it was like, oh, you can keep playing like her story, or you could totally go out and try to do some other stuff like different characters or whatever. So anyways, I guess what I'm working up towards here is like, is it a situation where I can play through this game and do the main objectives of the game but not really do all the chapters of the different characters? Or from getting from the beginning of the game to the end, is it necessary to play all the chapters for all 8 characters? You know what I mean? I guess I don't really know how that structure works.
I think that is the story, and like that is the
So
point. Like
yeah.
because there isn't really like one, at least that I've noticed, there isn't really like one common thread. Like it's not like, oh, all these 8 people are working together to, kill this evil king or something. Like there's nothing like that. Like everyone has their own problems, and I think it might just be like you know, experience all these smaller
vignettes kind of
stories.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's
Yeah,
it.
but I guess what I don't really get though is like, okay, so I did like the section with my character or whatever, and then it kind of encouraged me to, go explore different parts of the map or the world or whatever, instead of just continuing, I guess, her story. But it seemed like I could just continue her story.
Yeah.
But then like, okay, it's like if I go to like, I guess I don't even, I finished her part and then I didn't really have time to keep playing. But it didn't even seem clear to me like how I would go do a different character's like story or whatever. Because like you have this world map, but it doesn't really seem like I can walk from point A to point B on the world map necessarily as like the character I was starting with anyway. Like I started in this town and then I could go out to go to the first dungeon. That seemed to be the only path out of the town. And there didn't seem to be anything past the dungeon where I could keep going and exploring like into a different part of the map. So it's like, do I change like which character I'm playing as to go play this other person's story, or do I stay as the character I'm starting with? Like it was a little confusing to me, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that I'm not totally sure about that as well, because there are people like on, like when I look at my map, there's like people on a completely different continent than me, and it's like, okay, how do I get over there?
Right.
But and there's also like people that it's like recommended level 25 before doing that. So it's like, well, I'm not going to go there, but I have these 3 people, which there are paths going to. So I'm just going to go see what happens if I head out this way. And
but you can't like select them from a menu or a map or something. You've got to take your character to where they are, kind of thing.
I think so.
Okay.
But I'm not totally sure. Like, I don't know what happens if you like.
Well, I was trying to select the other places on the map and it didn't seem like I could do that.
Yeah.
But I didn't really see like I felt like I had a clear path to get there from where I was either. So,
but like after you finish like your first objective with your first character, more paths do open up. I've noticed.
Okay.
Like there'll be like, an exit out of the town that was previously blocked.
Okay, so I just need to find that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found a lot of stuff just by like exploring and messing around.
No, I know, and I know it started offering me or kind of like bringing up side quests for me or whatever
Yeah.
too. Although those I thought were weird. Also not weird, but like I was a little. I guess I just need to spend more time with the game to figure out how this stuff works. But like I'd go over
Yeah.
and talk to somebody, and they'd be like, "Oh, I can't find my dad" or whatever, you know. And it'd be like, "Okay, cool." But then then I went and found somebody else with like a green spot next to them and talked to that person, and they were like, "Oh, I need blah 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 blah," you know, whatever. And then
Yeah.
it didn't seem like it really like I didn't have like a side quest menu I could go to and see what side quests I needed to do, or it didn't
They're
really
kind of
even tell
vague.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I wasn't really.
Yeah, with the side quests, I'm not really stressing about those. Like,
hmm
I'm like, if I come across the solution to this, cool. Um, if not, like, I'm not super focused on it.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you been grinding? Have you felt like you've needed to grind?
um, I have, but it's not been like just running back and forth in like the same spot. Like, I've mostly done it through like exploration.
Okay.
Just checking out all the branching paths um, in each area, and yeah, and like through that and just checking out the paths. I also like it. It was like 3 hours into the game when I realized you could fast travel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which so I was walking everywhere
Yeah.
because I didn't realize I could fast travel back to the town and take like a different route.
Okay.
So I think I like inadvertently did a bunch
Acc-
of grinding.
Accidentally grinded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I just asked because like I got to the first boss for me in the first dungeon or whatever, and died the first two times I fought it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like went out and I thought maybe I was supposed to bring somebody else into my party, and I didn't do
Yeah.
that. So I went back to the town and like pressed Y to get people to follow me, which I didn't really understand that because like then this dude followed me and he followed me all around the overworld or whatever and into the dungeon, but he doesn't do anything. Like he didn't join my party.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well I guess there's some other purpose to having people follow you around that I'm not totally aware of here yet. But yeah, I just leveled up a couple times and then took it on again and did better. And then obviously like breaking is like the system of like breaking an enemy
Yeah.
is pretty integral, and it's similar to Bravely Default in a lot of ways. That's one thing. Like the game's really cool and I'm enjoying it, and I think I'll keep playing it and get it and stuff. But I'm not sure that I think the break system here is an improvement on like the Bravely Default system,
It
and
is.
it is.
It is.
Okay, explain to me
Yeah.
why it is.
It is once you get more people in your party and enemies have they have multiple weaknesses. You attack them with different types of attacks, whether it's like bow and arrow or light, holy magic, or whatever. And then when you face them again, it will tell you like what they're weak to and what
Yeah.
will break them, and it becomes like this very like quick strategic experience when you have like an enemy that has like, because they have that little shield too that is like, okay, it takes 3 hits for this one to break their armor, so you have to kind of like strategize like how much you're going to like withhold your attacks, or you can and if there's multiple enemies too, like it changes it as well, your approach. But you can essentially, once you like have the enemies figured out, you're comfortable with the attacks and moves that you have, you can essentially get it to a point where the enemies just never, like, they don't even get a chance to attack you
Mm-hmm.
because you're like breaking them right away, and they like lose a turn when you get a break, and then like you can just kind of pile on the attacks back and forth, and you have your special moves, your stuff that takes your magic points, but you also have the bravely system of like building up attacks as well for like combos. And once you start doing those with multiple characters, like you can create like a pretty much unstoppable chain.
Maybe that's why it's not clicking for me as much as Bravely Default right now, is because I only have the one character in my party or whatever.
It changes a ton once you have
okay, because like the thing that I'm kind of missing here from Bravely Default, number one, no matter how many like I don't know turns or whatever you have built up, you can only use 3 and 1 go. Which Bravely Default you could do more than that. And then so like I had a situation with my boss where it was like, or the boss that I was fighting, where it's like it takes I think 3 hits to break this boss. Okay, so I'll break him, and then when I come back I can only hit him twice, and it just felt like I'm not doing as much damage as I want to do. Whereas in Bravely Default, I would go into the negative on my turns. Like I would use up turns that I didn't have yet.
Yeah.
So that I could really just like, dude, hit him. Like once I break him, I want to hit you a bunch of times, you know?
Yep.
And I guess when I have more characters in my party, I could do that. But so far it was like, yeah, I break the dude, but like it takes basically every turn I have to break him. And then I feel like I'm building up turns again, not being able to really take advantage of the fact that I broke this enemy, you know?
Yep.
So I guess I need to get more characters in my party, but it just felt like so far it was like, yeah, the weakness thing is cool, but I would rather be able to go negative and like just, because that was the thing in Bravely Default. Like once you had an enemy figured out, like, okay, I know that this enemy is going to take this many points or this many hits to kill with this item or weapon or whatever. When I fight him again, like, you know, I won't be scared to go negative on my turns because I know they won't get a chance to fight back, because if I just use up every turn I can, it'll be a one-hit thing. They'll be out and then I'm good. So yeah, guess I need more time with it. Like, you know, it's definitely similar to the Bravely Default system, but I played that game for 50 hours or whatever it was, and I've played this one for 2, so maybe that's why I just
yeah. And like, for example, like one of the characters I've just recruited, she has this bow attack, and she fires a bunch of arrows and with like low accuracy. So she fires like 5 to 8 arrows, and they may or may not hit, and it's like half damage of her regular attack. But what's cool is if I'm fighting a boss that has like a shield of like 6, I can have her do this attack, and then maybe my other character is attacking with a staff, and maybe, you know, if like the boss is weak to arrows and staff, like, okay, so I have her fire these 5 to 8 arrows, maybe 5 of them hit, and then it's down to 1, you know, 1 shield. Then I have my second character, like, okay, they've built up so they can have 4 attacks. They hit the first attack, that breaks it. Then the 3 more attacks are powerful. Then the enemy's still stunned. Then I go back to my archer character, and then I can do 5 to 8 hits with the enemy stunned that are taking off like double damage.
Okay.
So like once you, and like right now I still only have 2 characters. But like it's already like opened up so many possibilities, and I'm sure by the time you have, I don't know what the party member max is in this game. I think it's 3 or 4.
Okay.
But like I think it's going to get like crazy. The strategizing once that happens.
Okay. Cool.
So, yeah. It's pretty legit.
Nice. Yeah. I think I'm definitely gonna get it. I'm still playing the demo right now because I haven't hit my 3-hour limit yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably definitely go out sometime this week and grab it when I can.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's cool. Super
yeah.
cool. All right. Well, I think that wraps up this episode. You can check out our blog over at nintendofunclubpodcast.com. You can email us, nintendofunclubpodcast@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter at Brandwarf, BRAWNDWARF. And what about you, John?
I'm on Twitter at Arcade Ghost.
Cool. Well, yeah, sorry about the wait. It's been a hot minute. But yeah, we'll be back in 2 or 3 or 4 weeks with the next episode. We shall see. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Goodbye.
See you in the online lounge.